Ladies and gentlemen, haha, isn't it funny? They laughed because you were quiet. They whispered because you stayed to yourself. They thought silence meant weakness, thought no noise meant no power. Oh, what a beautiful mistake. While they were busy talking, you were building. While they were busy judging, you were sharpening. While they were making noise with empty words, you were making moves in the dark. And now the same people who mocked your silence can hear the thunder of your success without you saying a single word. See, this world is addicted to loud mouths, fake flexing, and cheap attention. Everyone wants applause before they earn it. Everyone wants to look dangerous before they become dangerous. But you chose something far more terrifying. You chose discipline. You chose patience. You chose the silent grind. And that scares people more than anger ever could. Because when someone moves in silence, no one knows how powerful they've become until it's too late. They spoke your name in jokes. Now they speak it in fear. They ignored your effort. Now they study your results. They made noise with their mouths, while you made history with your actions. So tonight, let's talk about the most dangerous kind of person in the room. The one who says nothing, but wins everything. Funny, isn't it? The loudest people in every room usually believe volume is power. They think whoever talks the most controls the story. They think confidence is measured by noise, by constant opinions, by endless announcements about what they're about to do. They live on attention like it's oxygen. If nobody is watching, they feel invisible. If nobody is listening, they feel weak. So they speak louder, brag harder, interrupt faster, and laugh bigger, hoping the world mistakes sound for strength. Then you walk in, quiet, calm, unreadable, and suddenly the room feels different. Because loud people know how to fight noise. They know how to argue, mock, gossip, and compete with words. They know how to dominate people who react too quickly. But silence gives them nothing to grab. No weakness to expose, no emotion to manipulate, no clues to study, no easy target to hit. They throw comments at you and hear nothing back. They test your patience and get no reaction. They search your face for insecurity and find composure instead. That's when confusion begins. People become uncomfortable when they cannot predict you. Noise is predictable. Loud people announce every move, every feeling, every plan. They tell the room what they're doing before they've done it. They leak their own strategy because they need recognition more than results. But a silent person can be working on 10 moves while everyone assumes they're doing nothing. That uncertainty bothers people. They start creating stories because they hate empty spaces. If you don't explain yourself, they invent explanations. If you don't defend yourself, they assume hidden strength. If you don't compete for attention, they wonder what you know that they don't. That is why silence confuses loud people. They cannot understand someone who doesn't need applause. They cannot understand discipline that doesn't ask for validation. They cannot understand confidence that doesn't perform for strangers. To them, if it isn't posted, announced, repeated and praised, it doesn't exist. But real growth often happens where nobody is clapping. Real skill is built in private hours. Real focus survives without witnesses. You know that. They don't. Watch what happens when a loud person meets someone grounded in silence. First, they try to pull you into their game. They joke louder. They brag more. They ask personal questions. They tease you to provoke a reaction. They want proof that they can control your emotions. When that fails, they become curious, then uneasy, then irritated. Because every second you remain calm reminds them that their noise is not working. And deep down, they know something painful. If words were enough, they would already be winning. Many people talk because talking feels like progress. Saying, "I'm going to be great," feels easier than becoming great. Declaring plans gives a temporary high. Telling everyone your dreams can feel like achievement without effort. But silence strips away illusion. In silence, there is only work, no audience, no excuses, no performance. Just repetition, patience, sacrifice, and time. Loud people often avoid silence because silence forces them to meet themselves. You don't need to announce every lesson you learn. You don't need to explain every setback. You don't need to defend every rumor. Sometimes the strongest answer is improvement. Sometimes the sharpest response is consistency. Sometimes the greatest revenge is becoming undeniable without ever entering the argument. Notice how people react when your results arrive. The same ones who said nothing good about you suddenly have questions. The same ones who dismissed you start paying attention. The same mouths that were full of opinions become strangely quiet. Why? Because outcomes expose noise. Success reveals who is working and who is just speaking. Silence is not weakness. Silence can be restraint. Silence can be strategy. Silence can be confidence so secure it doesn't need decoration. Silence can be pain transformed into focus. Silence can be a person too busy building to advertise the construction site. And the loudest people often fear that most. Because when someone noisy loses, everyone heard it coming. But when someone silent rises, nobody knows how high they can go until they're already above the crowd. Discipline is a language few people understand because it does not speak in promises. It does not shout through a microphone, post daily announcements, or beg for attention. It does not need applause to continue. It does not need motivation to begin. It moves quietly, consistently, and without drama. That is why so many people overlook it in the beginning. They are distracted by loud voices, bold claims, and flashy performances. They confuse excitement with progress and noise with power. But discipline has never cared about being noticed early. Anyone can talk about what they plan to do. Anyone can say they want success, wealth, strength, respect, or greatness. Words are cheap because they cost almost nothing. A person can make 10 promises before breakfast and break all of them before night. They can describe a future they have no intention of earning. They can impress strangers for a moment with confidence they borrowed from fantasy. Talking creates an image. Discipline builds reality. That is the difference. Discipline wakes up when comfort says sleep longer. Discipline keeps going when feelings say stop. Discipline shows up on bad days, boring days, painful days, and days when nobody believes in you. It repeats the same necessary actions until skill replaces struggle. It chooses long-term reward over short-term pleasure again and again until results become impossible to ignore. Most people love the idea of success, but hate the routine that creates it. They admire the body, but not the training. They admire the wealth, but not the sacrifice. They admire the confidence, but not the years of failure that shaped it. They admire the spotlight, but not the lonely mornings, late nights, and constant standards that earned it. Discipline accepts the part others avoid. That is why it speaks louder than words. A person can tell the world they are serious, but discipline proves it through behavior. A person can say they are focused, but discipline reveals itself through consistency. A person can claim they are different, but discipline is what actually separates them from the crowd. When someone trains while others delay, learns while others gossip, saves while others waste, and grows while others complain, no speech is needed. Their life becomes the message. People often misunderstand discipline because it looks boring from the outside. It is repetition. It is structure. It is patience. It is doing what matters long after excitement disappears. There are no fireworks in the daily grind. No dramatic soundtrack plays when you choose the harder path for the 100th time. Yet those plain moments hold more power than any emotional speech ever could. Motivation can inspire you for an hour, Discipline can transform you for a lifetime. Feelings change. Energy changes. Circumstances change. Some mornings you feel unstoppable, some mornings you feel empty. If your progress depends on emotion, you will move only when the weather inside you feels good. Discipline refuses to live that way. It acts according to values, not moods. It keeps promises to the future version of yourself, even when the present version feels tired. That is rare strength. The loud world celebrates instant results and visible wins, but discipline often works underground first. Roots grow before trees rise. Foundations are laid before towers appear. A disciplined person may look ordinary for months or years, while they are becoming extraordinary in private. Others laugh because they only judge what they can currently see. Then one day the harvest arrives, and everyone acts surprised. There was nothing sudden about it. Every unseen hour mattered. Every resisted distraction mattered. Every time they kept going instead of quitting mattered. Every moment they chose standards over excuses mattered. Discipline had been speaking the entire time through actions, habits, and momentum. People were simply too busy listening to noise to hear it. Even character is built through discipline. It takes discipline to control anger when provoked. Discipline to stay honest when lying seems easier. Discipline to remain humble when praised. Discipline to stay loyal to your mission when temptations appear. Discipline is not only about productivity, it is about identity. It shapes who you become when nobody is watching. Eventually words run out. Promises expire. Hype fades. Performances end. What remains is evidence. The body shaped by training. The mind sharpened by study. The bank account built by restraint. The reputation formed by reliability. The peace earned through self-control. That is why disciplined people do not need to argue much. Their results handle introductions. Their consistency answers doubt. Their habits defend their name. While others keep explaining what they are about to do. Discipline keeps quietly becoming what they talked about. While they talked, you built. 4 simple words, but they expose one of the biggest differences between dreamers and doers. Many people spend their lives making noise about what they are going to become. They announce plans before taking the first step. They describe victories before facing a single challenge. They speak with passion, confidence, and excitement, hoping the energy of their words will be mistaken for progress. It sounds impressive for a moment. People clap, nod, and say they believe in them. But after the conversation ends, nothing changes, because talking about the future is easy. Building one is not. Building requires patience when nobody notices. It requires effort when nobody cares. It demands discipline when comfort calls your name. It asks for consistency on days when motivation disappears. That is why so few people choose it. Construction is harder than conversation. Action is heavier than speech. Results cost more than promises. So while they filled rooms with opinions, updates, and declarations, you chose another path. You worked in silence. You learned skills without announcing every lesson. You made mistakes without turning them into performances. You improved quietly while others were busy explaining why they had not started yet. You spent time where it matters most, in repetition, practice, sacrifice, and growth. No spotlight, no applause, no audience needed. That kind of work confuses people, because it looks invisible at first. They assume if they cannot see movement, there is none. If they do not hear plans, they think there are no plans. If you are not promoting yourself constantly, they assume you have nothing worth promoting. But some of the most powerful progress happens where nobody is looking. Seeds grow underground before anyone sees a tree. Foundations are poured before a building rises above the street. Muscles strengthen before mirrors reveal change. Knowledge compounds before titles appear. The loud crowd only respects what is visible. Builders understand the value of what is hidden. That is why people often underestimate the quiet person. They judge the present moment and miss the process entirely. They laugh because they see no trophies yet. They doubt because they hear no bragging. They dismiss because silence looks ordinary to shallow eyes. Meanwhile, every day you are stacking bricks they never noticed. One skill learned, one habit improved, one distraction removed, 1 hour invested, one weakness confronted, one promise kept, brick by brick. That is how real lives are built. Most people want overnight success because they do not want to pay daily prices. They want the crown without carrying weight. They want the outcome without enduring the routine. They want applause without earning respect. So they talk. Talking lets them feel close to success without the discomfort of becoming successful. Words create the illusion of movement, but illusions collapse. Eventually time reveals who is serious. Months pass. Years pass. The talkers still have speeches, excuses, and unfinished plans. The builder has progress. The talkers still debate what they might do. The builder has evidence. The talkers still seek attention. The builder has leverage, skill, confidence, and options. This is why quiet progress can become dangerous. It compounds unnoticed. People only pay attention when the gap becomes too large to ignore. Suddenly they say you changed overnight. Suddenly they say you got lucky. Suddenly they ask how it happened so fast. Fast. They never saw the mornings you started tired and continued anyway. They never saw the nights you stayed disciplined while others drifted. They never saw the times you failed privately, adjusted quietly, and returned stronger. They never saw the loneliness of choosing growth when others chose entertainment. They only saw the finished wall, not the years of laying bricks. While they talked, you built. And building changes more than circumstances. It changes identity. Every promise you keep to yourself creates trust within. Every difficult task completed increases confidence. Every challenge survived makes you steadier. You stop needing validation because your standards become enough. You stop chasing approval because your progress becomes your proof. The loud often depend on reaction. Builders depend on routine. That is why when criticism comes, you do not break easily. You have history with struggle. You have callouses from effort. You know what it took to become this version of yourself. Someone's opinion cannot erase years of construction. There is also power in privacy. When everyone knows your plans, they often judge unfinished stages. They criticize beginnings, mock mistakes, and project their fear onto your path. But when you build quietly, you protect momentum. You give your energy to the work instead of wasting it defending the work. Then one day the doors open, the business launches, the body transforms, the mindset sharpens, the income rises, the confidence shows, the respect appears, and the same people who love talking now become students of your results. Remember this whenever noise around you feels intimidating. Volume is not victory. Hype is not progress. Announcements are not achievements. The world may celebrate speakers early, but it eventually bows to builders. Because words can excite a room for an hour, but what you built can change your life for decades. Results create fear and respect, because results are the one thing nobody can argue with for long. People can debate opinions, criticize personality, question intentions, and laugh at dreams. They can dismiss your plans before they happen and mock your confidence before it is tested. But when results arrive, conversations change. Excuses become quieter. Doubt becomes weaker. Noise begins to fade. Evidence has entered the room. Many people feel comfortable attacking potential because potential is unfinished. They see someone trying and assume they have time to judge them. They think effort can be mocked because the outcome is not visible yet. They laugh at beginners, underestimate learners, and dismiss anyone still climbing. It is easy to disrespect what has not fully formed. But once something becomes real, The same people must confront a truth they hoped to avoid. You did it. That moment creates two powerful reactions in others: fear and respect. Fear does not always mean terror. Often it means discomfort. It means people realize they misjudged you. It means they understand you are no longer easy to overlook. It means they see discipline where they once saw weakness. It means they know the version of you they criticized no longer exists. That awareness can shake people deeply. Respect comes from proof. Anyone can claim greatness, but results verify character. Results show who stayed committed when nobody was watching. Results reveal who kept going when excuses were available. Results demonstrate patience, consistency, resilience, and skill. Even people who dislike you may be forced to respect what you built because the evidence is visible. That is why success changes how people speak to you. Before results, some people talk down to you. They advise you without experience. They treat your dreams like hobbies. They act superior because they judge only your current stage. They believe where you are now is where you will remain. But after results, tone changes. Suddenly, they become polite. Suddenly, they become curious. Suddenly, they ask questions instead of giving lectures. Suddenly, they want to know your secrets. Nothing magical happened. Only proof appeared. People trust appearances until outcomes expose them. Someone may look confident while being lazy. Someone may sound wise while being shallow. Someone may act powerful while depending entirely on attention. Results remove costumes. They reveal substance. That is why those who relied on image often feel threatened when someone grounded in effort rises. Fear also comes from comparison. When you succeed through discipline, you become a mirror. Others begin to see what they could have done with their own time, energy, and talent. Your progress reminds them of their procrastination. Your growth highlights their excuses. Your courage exposes their hesitation. That reflection can be painful. So some people react defensively. They call you lucky. They minimize your work. They pretend your journey was easier than theirs. But beneath those reactions is discomfort with themselves. Respect, however, is different. Respect can come even from competitors. Real workers recognize work. Serious people recognize sacrifice. Those who understand struggle can see the cost hidden behind polished outcomes. They know success did not appear overnight. They know confidence was earned through failure. They know calmness was built through pressure. They know your result is not a moment. It is accumulated discipline. That respect carries weight because it comes from truth. Results also change how you see yourself. This may be the most important part. External respect matters less than internal certainty. When you produce results, you stop depending on empty praise. You know what you are capable of because you have tested yourself. You know you can endure hard seasons because you already have. You know you can build again because you built before. Confidence becomes rooted in memory, not fantasy. That kind of self-respect is powerful, and it often creates fear in people who manipulate others. Why? Because someone who trusts themselves is harder to control. They do not chase approval as desperately. They do not crumble under criticism as easily. They do not accept low standards just to belong. Results can free a person from emotional dependence on the crowd. There is another reason results command respect. Consistency is rare. In a world full of starters, finishers stand out. In a world full of talkers, producers stand out. In a world full of distractions, focused people stand out. When someone repeatedly delivers, others notice. Reliability becomes a form of authority. You do not need to brag when your life speaks. Titles can be handed out. Hype can be manufactured. Popularity can be temporary, but real results endure. Skills remain. Businesses grow. Bodies transform. Knowledge compounds. Reputation spreads. Opportunities multiply. These things create a presence that words alone cannot imitate. So if people doubt you now, let them. If they laugh early, let them. If they misunderstand your process, let them. Early opinions are cheap because they are formed before evidence exists. Keep building. Keep improving. Keep stacking proof in silence, because when results arrive, the room changes. Some will fear what they can no longer dismiss. Some will respect what they can no longer deny. The quiet one always shocks everyone, because most people judge power by volume. They assume the loudest person in the room is the strongest. They believe confidence must be announced, intelligence must be displayed, and ambition must be constantly advertised. They are trained to notice noise, so they overlook depth. They chase bright signals and ignore hidden force. That is why the quiet person is so often underestimated. Silence makes shallow observers careless. When someone talks nonstop, people feel they understand them quickly. Their strengths, weaknesses, emotions, and intentions are exposed in pieces with every sentence. But the quiet person remains unreadable. They do not reveal every thought. They do not leak every plan. They do not explain every move before making it. That mystery causes people to miscalculate. They mistake calm for weakness. They mistake patience for passivity. They mistake humility for lack of ability. And those mistakes become expensive. The quiet person is often busy doing what loud people only discuss. While others seek attention, the quiet one seeks growth. While others perform confidence, the quiet one builds competence. While others debate success, the quiet one practices the habits that create it. Because they are not distracted by needing constant recognition, they preserve energy for progress. That is why the shock feels so strong when results appear. People remember how little noise you made. They remember overlooking you. They remember assuming you were average, timid, or irrelevant. Then one day the business grows, the skill sharpens, the body transforms, the mindset hardens, the income rises, or the leadership becomes undeniable. Suddenly, the same person they ignored becomes impossible to ignore. Shock is born when assumptions collide with reality. Many people rely too heavily on appearances. If someone speaks boldly, they assume leadership. If someone shows off, they assume success. If someone dominates conversations, they assume intelligence. But appearance is often theater. The quiet person understands something deeper. Substance does not need to announce itself every hour. A blade does not shout to be sharp. Fire does not brag to be hot. Strength does not need permission to exist. The quiet one often develops in private, because privacy protects progress. Public attention can create pressure to look successful before becoming successful. It can tempt people to perform instead of improve. But silence allows room for mistakes, learning, repetition, and slow transformation without the crowd interfering. In hidden seasons, the quiet person gains advantages others never notice. They learn discipline. They build emotional control. They sharpen observation. They become self-reliant. They understand timing. By the time others notice, the gap is already wide. Another reason the quiet one shocks everyone is listening. Loud people often spend more time expressing than absorbing. Quiet people frequently observe patterns others miss. They hear what people value, what they fear, where they lie, where they overestimate themselves, and where opportunities exist. While others are busy talking, the quiet one gathers information. Information used wisely becomes leverage. Silence can be a classroom. The quiet one also tends to develop resilience differently. Because they are not always validated by attention, they learn to continue without applause. They work without being cheered. They improve without being praised. They endure lonely seasons where no one notices effort. This builds inner stability. When hard times come, they are less dependent on external energy than those who need constant reaction. That inner strength surprises people too. They thought silence meant insecurity, yet you stayed steady under pressure. They thought humility meant weakness, Yet you handled responsibility better than louder personalities. They thought introversion meant fear, yet you moved boldly when action was required. Again and again, they confuse personality style with capability. The world does this often. Some of history's most effective people were not the loudest in every room. Many powerful minds preferred focus over spectacle. Many dangerous competitors trained quietly. Many respected leaders spoke carefully rather than constantly. Noise may attract attention quickly, but consistency earns impact over time. The quiet one understands timing. They do not feel compelled to react to everything. They know not every insult deserves a response. Not every invitation deserves acceptance. Not every battle deserves energy. This restraint looks passive to immature minds. In reality, it is control, and controlled people become dangerous when they finally decide to move. Then comes the moment everyone remembers. The promotion no one expected. The victory no one predicted. The transformation no one saw coming. The confidence no one thought existed. The comeback no one believed possible. That is when rooms go silent, because the loud had words. The quiet had preparation, because the loud had image. The quiet had substance, because the loud wanted to be seen. The quiet wanted to become. Never be discouraged if people underestimate a calm nature. Many only understand what is obvious. Let them misread you. Let them assume limits that are not real. Let them think silence means smallness. Keep learning, building, and sharpening where eyes are not focused. Shock does not come from random luck. It comes from hidden work meeting public reality. And when that collision happens, everyone suddenly remembers the person they barely noticed. The quiet one who was becoming powerful the entire time.